I was listening to an Alex Hormozi clip on the internet somewhere, and I was like, that is a fucking stupidly simple framework that makes so much sense, but like, why haven't I been using this? Every coach needs to know this. We're going to break down today the exact strategy and the percentages of time and effort you should be spending in each area. If you feel like you're spinning your wheels on marketing all of the time and not seeing the outcomes that you want, this is going to be your shortcut to finally bringing in leads. Hey coach, Xenia Wood here, and this is the Swift Coaches Academy podcast, created for service-based business owners who are ambitious enough to break free from the forever hustle and create scalable businesses that truly make an impact while also giving us freedom. With more than a decade of experience, we're not here to waste your time on theory. Instead, just sharing what works and what doesn't to help you get clear as fuck on your next move and show you exactly how to implement the systems and strategies that you need to scale with confidence. Welcome to another episode. Life update to start with. I have recently rejoined a gym, which I'm so pumped about. It is called Flavor Fit, but it's FLAVA, so I call it Flava. Random useless piece of information. But I've been really excited to go back to group classes. I wasn't doing them for ages, and I really never ever thought I would become a group class person, coming from like training in the gym for the last 8 years by myself or like just with other coaches around. But I can see now, after being sort of like in that situation for the last 3-ish years on and off, how it's just so easy. And I've found other coaches even doing this for their own training, because you can kind of switch off. I know as a coach, like I was just like work and then would go to the gym to do my own training. But because I'm a coach, it also feels like work because I'm always thinking about it. So to be put in a situation where, I'm not going to do cardio on my own, that rarely happens. So to put myself in a situation which is outside of my like regular comfort zone, but get back in as well, because if you've been following along, you may know that I have a disc bulge, disc herniation, and L5-S1 nerve root irritation. So that sounds really intense and scary, but being an exercise physiologist background, I know what to do. I know what my body can and can't do. And I've had the last sort of 5 months away from CrossFit and away from like Olympic lifting and rope climbs and, muscle ups and all the things that are often quite advanced or quite maybe not the muscle ups, but like rope climbs, dropping down. Like it's a lot of compressive loads on my spine, and my discs didn't like that a ton. So I went from a couple of days Pilates at home, a couple of days gym myself, back into group classes. And so far, so good. I am loving it. Just taking it slow at my own pace and avoiding all of the Ollie moves and substituting them, which has been awesome. Now, for today's episode, I feel like there's this big consensus at the moment that it is harder to get leads or harder to get clients. And to a degree, I can see and understand that for sure. There is definitely a lack of trust in the industry at the moment, and it can be or can seem or feel hard to get leads. However, I was listening to an Alex Hormozi clip on the internet somewhere, and just in this time frame that I was listening to him and this talk that he was doing, I was like, that is a fucking stupidly simple framework that makes so much sense, but like, why haven't I been using this? So as soon as I found and came across this Hormozi strategy that was just stupidly simple to get more leads with less effort or more directed focus as well, then I was like, oh my God, every coach needs to know this, needs to be doing this. And while I don't think it's necessarily like new information, I do think it's a perspective shift. And I do think that the nuance behind, we're going to break down today the exact strategy and the percentages of time and effort you should be spending in each area. I do think that that part is nuanced. And obviously, Alex Hormozi has built $100 million business and, does really fucking well. So this is the strategy I'm going to use for you guys, and I'm going to teach you how to do it from a exercise coach or a health business perspective today. So This is going to be your shortcut to finally bringing in leads if you feel like you're fucking spinning your wheels on marketing all of the time and not seeing the outcomes that you want. And the thing is that your marketing efforts might not be bringing in the client numbers you want. And it could be a lot of reasons. It could be the fact that you don't have a clear niche. It could be the fact that you don't have a clear offer or outcome proposition. It could be the fact that your messaging isn't dialed in. All those things can influence this as well. But often before that, it starts with where you're focusing your marketing efforts. So today we're going to break down this strategy that's just so fucking simple to execute on. You'll be able to go and do this yourself in the 10 minutes after you finish listening to this episode. And to be honest, this one shift I have been working on with a one-to-one client who has $1 million health clinic, and we have been executing this strategy for them in their marketing. So today I'm bringing that to you for free. So without further ado, the first thing that we need to tackle is where you're at right now. So with our marketing, the first thing we want to do is an audit on where we're at now. So if you don't know anything about me or you're new here, then you may not know that I am so big on making decisions based on what the data says, not based on emotions or what my students think is going on. It is so, so important because a lot of the time we'll have students jump on calls, and when they're newer in the program, they're like, oh, well, I feel like my marketing isn't working. Like, I feel like my posts aren't getting reach. It's like, okay, that's a feeling, but what does the data tell you? So we always want to revert back to there. So I'm a gal who loves focusing on facts and data. If you've known me for any period of time, you would know that I am so focused on that. And yes, I can still get caught up and swept up in the emotion, but I won't make decisions based on that. Yeah, I'll take a step back, I'll come back to it, and I'll go logically, what is the option or the next best option or solution here? Okay. So what we're going to do before we jump into Hormozi's strategy is outline what it is. So it's a 3-part strategy, and it's called more, better, and new. So the more part of it is doing 70% of what you already do, but more of it, more volume. Yeah. So if you're currently reaching out to three three clients walking the gym for a week, could you focus 70% of your total marketing efforts on reaching out to more of those? Why not reach out to 10 or 50, right? Or even just 6 if you were doing 3, yeah? Then we go into the better section. So can we do what we're doing already that's working for us 20 not 20% better, but can we do it better? And we focus 20% of our efforts on that. And then the third part is new. So often what coaches do is they jump straight to the new and what is new and what is shiny. And I want to start a podcast, and I want to go and like do all these workshops, and I want to, create this group program and all these different things. And it's like, whoa, you can do that for sure. But out of all the time you're spending on marketing, 10% of that should be focused on the new, because we have no data to say that if that is or isn't going to work for you, right? So why would we risk 100% of our time in our marketing efforts on something new that's untested, that therefore will probably take longer or be harder or more effort or time intensive or money intensive for us to get results? Yeah. So it's not rocket science, this strategy of more, better, new, but it is one that when executed well can get you great results. So we're going to break this down with our audit. So the first thing that I need you to do, you can either pause this or watch this or do this later, but you're going to list all of your current lead gen strategies, right? And I think this may also show some coaches they're just not doing enough, which is why the first strategy is do more. Yeah, most people just aren't putting in enough of the work to see the outcome that they want. So Current lead gen strategy examples that you might have could be creating organic Instagram reels. They could be lead magnets. They could be walking the gym floor. It could be fortnightly meetings with referrers or potential partners of other disciplines that are similar to you that you could collaborate and swap and share clients with. It could be a podcast, or it could be doing guest workshops as examples, right? There's so many more options that you can do. You can do freebies, you can do giveaways, you can do referral things for your clients rather than referral partnerships through other businesses. So many options. But list all the ones you have, and having a website, not a lead gen strategy. That's where people should go, yeah, but like, how are you sending them to that website? Like, do you have Google AdWords or SEO implemented into your website to get traffic there, right? So listing all those out, and then based on the data, how many leads does this get you per week or per month or even in the last 3 months? Yeah. So pick your poison in terms of the duration. And if you get less leads, I would increase the time that you're looking at these numbers. So let's say that you get less than 5 leads a week, I would probably go with maybe like a 3-month period and have a look at where the leads are coming from. Okay. If you don't know where your leads are coming from, that is a little red flag for you to go, okay, now every time a new lead or booking comes in, I need to make sure that that's either in the pre-assessment form that I ask them or I ask them on the spot. But we need to know where our leads are coming from, because otherwise you are just throwing darts at a dartboard blind and you have no idea. And so how are you going to know what's working, what's not working if you're not asking these questions? Yeah. So we've listed all our current strategies. We've listed how many leads we get per week or per month or per 3-month period. And then we just want to rank them 1 through 7 or however many strategies that you have. And we're going to start with the top, the one that gets you the most leads right now. Okay. Then we want to look at that and go, how can I do more of that? Right? If the strategy is workshops, and I do currently 1 workshop every 3 months, but I got 10 leads from that workshop, and that was my best in that 3-month period, then could I do a workshop a month or a fortnight or a week, right? How could we do more of what's already working? Don't change anything, just the frequency. Yeah. Then we want to know, how could we do this strategy better? Yeah, so we could do more workshops. We could do more workshops, and we could collaborate with other people so that it was a combined workshop with people who share our audience, but who are not going to do the same thing as us. So if I'm an exercise physiologist, I could collaborate with a dietitian and we could both bring our audiences to this workshop, and it could be part food and part exercise is the workshop that we're presenting. We cross-pollinate our audiences, and now I get probably double the amount of leads for the same amount of effort that I put in. Yeah, that's just one example, one strategy of how, if workshops was your best lead generating activity, how you could do more of that and do that better. Yeah. Then we're looking down our list, and you do not have to do new either, just FYI, but 10%. If you're wanting to focus on something new, you're like, hey, I haven't been on LinkedIn, but I like working with high level executives and I think my audience is there and makes sense by doing some research that they are. And so my new might be posting on LinkedIn. Yeah. Just spending 10% of our time, effort, and energy on the new is the really important thing. It's not fucking sexy to focus on doing more of the shit that you're already doing, right? It's boring. It can be monotonous. It is the same shit. But if you want to run a business that helps people and helps more of the people that you love working with, why would you not go and try and get as much juice out of the strategies that you've already used that have already served you well? Yeah. So another example of this could be maybe that your best leads come from the gym that you currently lease out of right now, and you get, 5 leads a week. So how could you do more of that? So you've got leads from the gym, yeah? You could get leads from another like gym nearby. You could walk the gym floor and get more leads from the same pool of people. You could ask reception and say, hey, I know that every time a new sign up happens, you send the leads out because we do PT packs or whatever the go is. But I'm just wondering, could we also at the same time, or in addition to, run a little promotion? Because what I'd love to do is, for example, I'd love to run a 4-week challenge for anyone for free who wants to join, who's either a current member or a new member, and they're going to get free programming or whatever they get. And you'd obviously liaise with the gym. And so, how many more leads could you tap into from the same pool of people by just thinking outside the box? Because most of the other PTs at gyms like that sit back and just wait for the leads to get handed to them. And those are the PTs who are gonna maybe grow, but at a pretty slow pace because they're not going after it and going out there and going out of their way to get the leads. They're still reliant on the gym to do that for them. And I think if you ever have the idea or intention that you want to at some point leave the gym that you're working for or build your own gym community or go online or whatever that looks like, you need to learn how to generate leads yourself through your own strategies and ideas, because you're not going to get them handed to you every single week from a gym anymore. And so doing that in an environment where you're already getting some leads and you can create a strategy that is more or better or even new in terms of your marketing to be able to get leads outside of the current method is going to prove to you that you can take the leap and slowly transition towards a model where you're not reliant on leads from someone else to hand them to you or have to pay them, X number of dollars a week in gym rent fees just to get those leads. Yeah. So to reiterate, we've done our audit of all our current lead gen strategies. We've looked at how many leads that we got from each strategy in our period of time we selected. Then we looked at and ranked them 1 through however many you have, 1 through 7, let's say, as to what was best through to worst. Then we looked at the top couple and how could we do more of that? How could we do better in that? And then what potentially do we want to do that's new in our marketing? The third and fourth things, which most people think, oh, yeah, like so good. But the bit where people mostly fall down is this. Step 3. So we've audited. Step 2 is looking at our more, better, new and creating those strategies. Step 3 is make a plan. Yeah. AKA figure out what you're going to do, create a schedule for it. And step 4 is execute. Now, I think the downfall of this for the most part is because most of us, when we start out, get paid when a client sees us. And so serving our current clients is the primary thing that we have to be doing because we get paid for that, right? We don't get paid for marketing upfront, or we don't get paid for marketing every week, right? It's this effort that compounds over time. And it's just like the gym, just like squatting, just like building muscle. We don't see those results. And in fact, it feels really fucking hard, messy, uncomfortable, painful in those early days. But if we don't do it, we won't be where we want to be. And we know that we have to do marketing if we want to get more clients. We know that we have to go to the gym, lift weights if we want to build muscle. So we need to treat our marketing just like we treat our body in the gym, because we know that the outcome comes from putting in the reps and iterating as we go. Yeah. So make sure that you make that plan and then schedule it out, block it out like a client session. If you need to find a buddy, then block it out together so you can have each other as accountability, and then go and execute on that. And then you can redo this cycle. You can re-audit. Then you can go, how can I do this more, better, or new? And then make that plan again and re-execute. And you can keep spinning that round. So hopefully that 3-part stupidly simple Hormozi strategy helped you to get a clearer picture on maybe you're getting a little shiny object syndrome, or maybe you're not focusing on the stuff that you're like, hey, that actually was working really well for me and I need to go back to that strategy, because it's not about reinventing the wheel when it comes to business. We've had so much that's been done before. And yes, we want to be leaders and pioneers, But at the same time, you can still leverage strategies that are working really well for you specifically, and then leveraging those before we try and start all these new different things that we have no proof or and are quite high risk as a result as to whether or not we're going to get a result with them. Hopefully that's helped. And what I love you to do now is pause or finish this episode and then go and write those down and then let me know how it goes. Let me know what you've got. You can DM me on Instagram at Xenia Wood Official. And until next time, move swiftly. Hey, coach, before you go, the reason I do this every single week and the reason we've been able to surpass 100 episodes is because of you. So thank you. We're on a mission towards never seeing another coach leave the industry because they didn't have the skills or the confidence to scale. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that before you forget. I read every single one of the comments and share as many as I can. So if you found this episode valuable, sharing it with a friend who might be able to benefit from hearing it would honestly mean so much to me. Until next time, and in whatever you do, move swiftly.